Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the regular final 2011 meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, December the 19th at 2:07 in the p.m. As you saw, we had a bit of a delay on the start here. We have two councillors absent in person, but attending the meeting electronically, so we have their presence, their input, and most of all, we have their votes from Councillor Michael Ryan in Toronto and Councillor Mike Plant in Arizona. Our delay was just a little bit here of trying to match the two of them together. So thank you very much, Ms. Van Vienen, for making that happen. Going to open the meeting, and the first issue would be the adoption of some minutes, and these would be the regular open minutes from December the 5th. Inaugural meeting for adoption. Any discussion on those? Hearing none, that will be adopted by consensus. Looking under the next item, which is business arising from prior minutes, there is an item there that we wish to discuss, and the business arising is bringing forward an item that was discussed at an in-camera meeting this morning. And we're bringing a resolution forward, and the motion, which was moved by Councillor Rhodes and seconded by Councillor McCordoff, resolved that Council approves amending the number of public members from 7 to 11 in the Economic Development Advisory Committee terms of reference, and to also formalize the appointments of those members. Those members were Holly Plant, Carol Youngberg, Wes Shaw, Joanne Muirhead, Len McLean, Brad McRae, Jason Barch, Rob Roche, and Bela Morelli. So we have that motion that was made and brought forward, and this is coming forward for receipt into the public domain. Thank you, and we need a resolution. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor McCordoff once again. Any input from the electronic councillors?
Councillor Ryan here, Mr. Mayor. I welcome the change and the addition of additional members, and I think the ones that you read out are going to be excellent candidates. I welcome them.
Thank you. Councillor Plant?
Same thing. Great. Just great to hear that we've got this group set forth, and we're looking forward to their involvement again with our unveiling of our community sustainability plan. So, welcome to them all.
Okay, so when I will be calling the question when we go to the vote. If the electronic councillors just say aye, or I guess nay if you're opposed, that will suffice. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's right. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Introduction of late items. There is a late item that I wish to add, and I will, I guess, have to add it and bring it up under business. Is that right, Ms. Van Vienen, or can I deal with it now? Add it now and deal with it now?
Add it now and then add it to your business items.
Okay. And this would be the item to come up under the late items is the appointments, the town councillor appointments for two committees. One is the ECDEV committee that we just discussed, and the other committee is the Waterfront Master Plan, and they will come up under Business 6. So that will be Business 6 edition. The next item up is delegations, and we have a presentation from Janis St. Louis over a Spartan Drive issue. Ms. St. Louis, please.
Good afternoon, Your Worship, and Councillors Rhodes, McCortoff, Ryan, and Plant. My name is Janis St. Louis. I live at 9407 Spartan Drive here in Osoyoos, and I thank you for allowing me to make this presentation today. My intention is to convince all of you to make Spartan Drive return to a two-way arterial road. I have done a petition. Jeanette has a copy of it here. There's 70-plus signatories so far, and I plan to keep on getting signatories on a petition, even if it takes through the summer if necessary. I have some supporters here present. Maybe you could raise your hand if you are supporting me here in the petition. Now, why am I doing this? Well, if you go back to some of your high school studies, Isaac Newton had the law of motion, which states that to every action there's always opposed and equal reaction. And the action of making this road one-way, which officially happened in August of this year, it's been an irritation and an inconvenience for local residents. Instead of taking 0.4 kilometers to get to town, it's 1.4 kilometers, which is kind of silly, especially in the winter months, because there's very little traffic along there. And if you notice, there are people who do go the wrong way on the one-way because it seems silly to do otherwise. But much more importantly, what the impact is of this, the reaction is that there's much more traffic up 92nd Avenue Hill. And that is a serious safety problem for those of us who use that road. On 92nd, you have to be careful anyway, because there's no shoulder on the road, there's no sidewalk, and there's a blind curve in the hill. And now there's a significant increase in the traffic, and that will only exacerbate in the summer when we have more people driving in our town. There are many people who go down 92nd, realize that it's one way, and the other direction is a dead-end road, so they have to do a U-turn. And some of my neighbors could count every day how many U-turns are at the bottom of the road. You know, tourists and people from out of town don't expect to see a one-way road in a small town. And like I said, they don't know it's one-way till they've come all the way down. I've got a couple of photos I took the other day just to give you an idea to see how it is a blind curve and how narrow it is along there. And what I'd ask you if you could do, take the time, both mayor and council and the shareholders that I'll talk about later, take the time to go down that road in the next week and you'll see for yourself. In terms of who this affects, you might think it's just those of us living over there in Lacey Point or Braeburn. But actually it affects anybody living north of Lions Park, whether it's on Spartan, Braeburn, 92nd Avenue, but anybody in the regional district, because that is the way that a lot of them would get down to the boat launch or to Lions Park. It affects anybody visiting Lions Park, because the only way in is going to be down the hill from the sailing club, and the only way out is going up 92nd Avenue. If you live on Kingfisher and you go to Lions Park, you can't turn around and go back the same way. You have to go all the way around, up and again. Anybody that lives north of Lions Park that wants to launch their boat can't go down Spartan. They have to go up and around, and everybody will be going down the road by the sailing club. And also, it may be surprising, but there will be a significant increase in traffic in front of the road by the sailing club. All boats will be going down there, all trailers. But most importantly, the ones that are most seriously affected by the one-way road are those who use 92nd Avenue, not in a car, but people who walk up there, people who ride their bikes up there, people who travel to town that way. And we're a town of walkers. You know, we were very lucky in this town. People walk year-round because of the climate. We can do that, and because of we don't have a lot of rough terrain. I walk that hill every day for exercise. I walk up and down it about 4 times. That's as high as I can go so far. But you know, it's a great free cardio workout. Yvonne over here, she walks to curves going up that hill every day for her exercise. My parents over here, they don't drive anymore. They have scooters. You may have seen them around town. They're tandem scooters. But they were told by Medichair when they got their scooters not to use the road on Spartan because it's got so many potholes and it's so rough. They said they should go up 92nd to access town. So they're going up that hill as well. And there's countless other people who use that hill, whether they're pushing a buggy or with their dogs or just exercise. Our neighbor Vic, he rides his bicycle up there all the time. And in the summertime, lots more people do use that hill, and some even run up the hill, although I can't imagine doing that. So now all of us are in increased risk because of this increase in traffic. You know, there's already been near misses. If you go up that hill around 4 o'clock, the sun is just coming down right in your face. And that happened to me one day. A lady was driving up there at 4 o'clock. I was standing on the shoulder, and she couldn't see because of the sun in her face. And my husband just pulled me out in time. Otherwise, she would have hit me, you know. So you have to be very careful now, and it's just going to get worse in the summer months. And basically, it's an accident waiting to happen. And it's not a question of if, it's a matter of when it's going to happen. When I first learned about this being becoming formally a one-way road, I asked the question why. And I heard different stories here and there, and I went to town hall to ask what are the facts here. And the fact is there's not enough width along the roadway, mostly just where the marina is. There's about 4 or 5 lots along there. There's not enough width to have 2 lanes and a sidewalk and a curb. There's a corporation that owns the right-of-way all along Spartan Road, and I think there's 10 shareholders now that are part of this corporation. They're people who own property along Gala. And the problem is that town and the shareholders have not been able to come to agreement on a price to buy not even a full a portion of that property. So when I heard about this and started my petition, I knocked on all the doors all down Gala. Not everybody's there year-round and not everyone was home, but I did speak to a couple of the shareholders and one person who's actually the rep for them. And there is some openness to discuss it further, to have some resolution. You know, there's a lot of history, too, as I spoke to people. They told me about 20 years ago this happened and that happened, and some people are still quite emotional about it. But the bottom line is that it's not safe, and it's just going to get worse. And what's needed, in my mind, is an understanding from mayor and council and the shareholders that this is about more than money. You know, it's a bigger problem. It's a safety problem for those of us who live here year-round. You know, we're your neighbors. We pay property taxes. We shop here locally year-round. You know, we volunteer in different organizations. We participate to try and make our town a better place to live. You know, we do so much in this town for tourists. And this is something that, as locals, we're asking you to do, to come to some agreement. So our request is for both parties to come to a reasonable agreement and get this road done as a proper two-way flow of traffic. In October, my friend and neighbor Joyce Harvey here gave 2 of our councillors what I think is a clever proposal to allow two-way traffic in the off-season. And I would like this to be considered as an interim measure. And if you're agreeable, she could maybe read this after my presentation. I'm just about done. In closing, I read the minutes from last meeting where, Mr. Mayor, you asked each councillor to come to the next meeting with a small project to champion. Well, here's one for you. Maybe we can even get the road finished all the way up to 92nd Avenue rather than waiting till 2013 for that. And I commit I will help in any way I can to come to some resolution or be part of something. Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
There may be some questions, Ms. San Luis, so
Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation, both from a local perspective and from a bigger geographical area, you know, bringing in the town and all that. We certainly, you know, this certainly wasn't an easy decision to go to the one-way, but when we did do the negotiation at the time, and which you would do in any business deal, if you try and there was no appetite to come any closer than we were, and we were a long ways apart. Then you move on and go, okay, that part is done, and let's move on and find how this is going to work. So I'm interested about the information that you presented. It's obviously going to be a council decision, but I think I would entertain that additional information if it's not too long.
Thank you.
Council.
Maybe a name and address, please.
Oh, I'm Joyce Harvey. I've been here since 1980. And I live on 9205 Spartan Drive, which is a bit from Lions Park. Yes, just before the election, I wrote a short letter trying to propose a solution to this, and I presented it personally to CJ Road and Michael Ryan to explain exactly what I was talking about, and this is what I wrote. I would like to propose a temporary solution to our temporary problem on Spartan Drive. Here it is, a seasonal sign saying, yield to oncoming traffic between the short space from the Sailing Club to Lions Park. You get that? Yield, just like a one-way bridge. There's a very short space there. And as there is no work being done, it just makes common sense to have the road open to the public for the coming season. And that includes me, and I find that one-way road is terrible, because the 30 years ago when I came, I had no idea that I would be stuck at the end of a one-way road that some council would say, that's going to be it. So please, at least a seasonal. Cover up those signs one way for the season. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think if anyone's ever driven in New Zealand, they'll appreciate what you're talking about when you get those very, very long one-way wooden bridges that are actually railway bridges that you travel on there, and that reminded me of that. So thank you very much. Council, is there any questions, please, on the presenters? Councillor McCordock, please.
Is it possible that
I'll join the queue at one point.
Okay, Councillor McCordock right now, please. Thank you.
I'm just wondering about if it has anything to do with the width of the road that is presently there. And I'm just wondering if Mr. Amenko may know that. Is that partly the issue, that the width of the road is not wide enough to allow two-way traffic?
Well, there's in terms of seeking out a temporary solution, we didn't look to a temporary solution. We were looking long term. We have plans to do the road appropriately in the marina portion, and yes, the width of the road in that particular area is not to municipal standards. And what we're trying to do is develop a road to municipal standards. The temporary solution of a one-way could work. The only drawback to that is again, people sometimes will not listen to temporary solutions, and our concern right now is the fact that there are, the only safety items there are those barriers, the wooden barriers, and also very soon we hope there will be people working there installing the dock slips. That could be at any particular point in time. So ultimately, the rationale for the one-way was the lack of appropriate room for a municipal standard road.
That's fine, Councillor McCordock.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I want to just briefly say to Janis that an excellent presentation, and for Ms. Harvey's information, I did table the idea of a seasonal one-way for council at a working session for budget, but I think it's been expanded a little bit in terms of dangers to 92nd, and I'm quite familiar with those also walking and biking. I know that, by way of a question, I know that we have extended the development permit for the people who are going to build below the Elks in that the gravel pit area, and I don't recall precisely whether there is a sidewalk for their portion of that, or whether even that road is to municipal standards, or whether a sidewalk built along 92nd up to 87th would in fact help in this, if we were unable to a two-way, whether that would provide some more safety. So whether, it's not really a question to Louis, but rather, I guess, to our staff or to our CAO.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Ryan. Any other discussion on this? I guess when I look at that 92nd, that's, we've just got a very, very small road with another small road, which is the crossroad, which is 92nd. Whenever I look at it and I see the lack of real estate, meaning there's no dirt there at all underneath the fence that goes into the old gravel pit there, that's very concerning. Just looking at that when you do walk by it. So I'm looking now at should this come up, Ms. Van Vienen, now? Should we be looking at a resolution now to move this forward, or what's council's deliberation on this?
That's up to council to decide whether you want.
But we can do that. We can do that now at this point now, rather than bring it up under. So what are council's wishes with this issue? There's a few choices out there. Putting it back to staff to see if there is an availability of that road. It's gonna tie up the project again further. But again, we have a large number of people that are concerned with the direction we're going in. So I'm looking for direction from council, please. Councillor Rhodes.
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Rhodes. Sorry, Michael. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One of the other components that were involved in that was the one-way would allow substantial parking along the park area, where a two-way would not really accommodate that at all. Parking is a huge issue in that area. We don't have much of it, and those parks are well used during the summer months. And we're all sitting here in new seats, so I'm not really sure which way to face here. So that's why I'm kind of twisting around a little bit. So I would like to. I'm not sure if we require a motion or anything, but I would like to know the width of that road and how close we are, and some of the options that might be available before I would look at a resolution at this time. I'm not sure if that would be instructions to staff to gather some more information on it, but I would be very receptive to hearing, the width of the road and how close we are to making it a two-way, and also accommodating some of the other requirements that we have in that area as well.
If you wish to make that a resolution, that this be forwarded to staff for a report, that would be appropriate.
Okay, well then I'll make that resolution that we obtain more or further information on the road width and look at some other options for that area down there. And
the seconder would be?
I would second that motion.
We have 3 seconders.
Okay. Okay. How about the long distance from Arizona? How about Councillor Plant?
Excellent. I would second that motion for sure.
Okay. Any further discussion speaking to the motion? I think Councillor Rhodes has lined out how it could look. Any further discussion from the electronic councillors? Okay, great. Councillor McCordoff, you're fine? Mm-hmm. Heading for the question, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Carried.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. So staff will have a look at it, get the widths, make sure we know exactly what we're talking about so that we can safely go down either route. Mm-hmm. So it could be back where we were. There's no guarantees on that. So stay close, and we'll see if there's a different solution. Oh. That's not our department. That would be RCMP. And I don't think we have any powers over that. So, so thanks for coming out as a delegation. You're welcome to stay. I'll give you a minute to exit if you also so desire.
Thank you.
just while some of the delegation is leaving and the people are looking in on TV, yes, we do have a brand new series of tables and setup and organization here. It's a work in progress right now. That's why you're seeing all the wires and cords and everything hanging all over the place. But when we get this done, it's going to be really top notch. It's just giving a different perspective of council. We have, you know, when we're web streaming now through Granicus, we're on the internet. When we're web streaming, it's going to be a lot easier for the camera to pick everybody up and see what's going on, and it's a lot easier for me when I'm looking for people that are making motions and seconding and things like that. So it's a lot friendlier. We're quite a bit closer together, and we will get this. Like I'm looking at all the wires right now, and I'm going, this is progress. Anyway, we're quite liking it, and it's going to be a good addition to our council chambers. Next item on the agenda is some correspondence and a letter from the Okanagan Similkameen Conservation Alliance dealing with the Meadowlark Festival in May, I believe it is. This is just an incredibly good environmental festival. It's been in business for a long time, and these are tours and things that people can do and buy into, and it covers the whole South Okanagan, Similkameen, grasslands, water, wetlands, and there's I defy anyone to say that there's not an item there that wouldn't interest somebody. Anybody is going to find something of interest there if you live on this planet. It's just real special. So what are council's wishes on this item, please?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councillor Ryan.
I would very much like to see us support this program. It's grown over the years, but I think it would be appropriate because of some of the discussion around Destination Osoyoos and marketing our area, if we did refer it to staff for consideration as to whether town or rather Destination Osoyoos might be able to provide some support for this, because to a large extent it's marketing it, and they've shown very great ability and prowess in coming up with all sorts of excellent marketing programs.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. And we have supported it in the past, but we're also heading in. It's a good time of year because we're also heading into budget deliberations. So maybe we'll see how that fits. Councillor McCordoff, please.
May I ask how it has been supported in the past? Was there a dollar figure attached to it? And if so, it doesn't say so in the letter, and that's why I was asking.
They were being nice in the letter. Yes, we have supported it with actual cash dollars, but I don't think last year, but in previous years, longer term windows, we have supported the Meadowlark Festival.
Well, I would certainly agree with Councillor Ryan that we approach the tourism part of it, DO, and see if they have this on their agenda, and we could certainly take a look at it. I don't think it has to be decided today, does it?
No. So could you make that a motion to refer to staff, please?
Yes, I make that motion.
And I'd be happy to join in seconding that.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Ryan. I believe Mr. Romanko, a statement, please. It looks like you wanted to talk to it.
Just noting in their letter that they're looking for program support. So, however, they don't note the nature of the program support beyond it being educational for all ages. Perhaps we could also provide them with information on our grants and aid program, and they could potentially make an application through that, depending on the nature of their request.
Okay. And interesting enough, it hasn't been cleared off the table yet, but there was cash left over with the town after the Osoyoos Lake Water Science Forum, and a fairly healthy amount. would certainly look good going towards a conservation act. So I'll try to get that closed out. It hasn't been finalized yet, but if I can get that closed out, maybe that could form a part of some of the funding they're looking at. Certainly be worthwhile. So, any further discussions on this as we're heading it from Ms. Van Vienen?
Just clarification on the resolution, is it to be referred to staff for further action and report to council? Is that what you're looking for?
I think so. And what might be interesting is maybe we should invite them to make a 10-minute presentation.
The Meadowlark people. Yeah. And I think part of it was that we would check with Destination Osoyoos to see whether there was tourism dollars, because I think that's what Michael suggested, that this perhaps fit into that category.
Okay. Any further discussion? We have the motion on the floor, which was referring to staff for a little bit more information on this, please. Any other information, questions? The question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Aye.
Aye.
There's the two ayes. Sailors all. The next correspondence from the Okanagan Basin Water Board, Water Conservation and Quality Improvement Grant Program. This is part of the 3 regional districts and part of the Okanagan Basin Water Board. Every year, they call for people to apply for some funding. It's quite substantial amount of money. I know even the town got some money last year from this program on one of our programs, and you can see that the regional district of Okanagan Similkameen is good for about $65,000 in grants, and this could be, we've given it in the past, the Oxbow Restoration Society, which would be out at the head of the lake by the Quintel properties out there. They've received money. Many water quality improvement areas in Osoyoos and on Osoyoos Lake have received money, and it's a great program for any water improvement area or section of our community to apply for these grants. There's a closing date that's quite important, and I think they moved it back a bit. It used to be early February, but now it's late February, I believe.
February
February 24th, I believe.
Yes.
24th.
Yeah.
And they come up fast. You know, all of a sudden you get to January and people, you know, there's a lot of people that are quite upset when they've missed these grants. So they cover a wide section out there. So if you're looking for anything environmental or anything like that, you belong to an organization, you're watching this on a webcast, by all means be aware of this money. It's there, and $65,000 for the regional district, Okanagan Similkameen. That's fairly healthy, and they'll try to probably break that into about 4 $10,000 to $15,000 projects. So if you want it, go for it. Mr. Romanko, please.
Just to let council know that we're reviewing this grant for a possible application for our, you heard about our manganese improvement project, pilot project that we're doing.
Right.
So we're looking at making applications. So we shouldn't encourage more people to apply.
Oh, thank you. That's great. That's great. So I guess at this point, just a motion to receive from Councillor McCordoff. Rhodes. Any discussion? All in favor?
Well, Mr. Mayor, yes, I must say I was hoping that we could refer to staff for some consideration of projects that they might put forward. And the manganese was mentioned, and it occurred to me that even trying to expand the use of our effluent water might be something that would be justifiable. I don't know whether their seconder would consider advising that a bit, but that's my feeling. I'd like to us identify some projects, because I think the last time we got money for our mapping of our lakeshore.
Oh.
And, so what?
Okay, thanks, Councillor Ryan. And yes, we did get that money for that foreshore mapping. Mr. Romanko, please.
We looked at the effluent project. However, the nature of the grant is more for like potable water and habitat restoration, and not so much for effluent, handling of effluent. So we thought that the manganese project, given it's a water quality project, would probably be a project that would be of higher quality.
So I guess, Councillor Ryan, what we're hearing here is staff has already picked sort of their main project, and we're only going to get one because we're taking in Penticton, Summerland,
exactly. But there is an intention to apply. That's what I'm hearing, and that satisfies me.
Yes.
Okay.
An intention to apply. Yes.
Okay, so I think we'll proceed, and we have heard your information. And if something doesn't work, we can always try item 2. But looks like staff has already zeroed in on the one that they'd like to bring forward. So at this point, I believe the motion was to receive. It was moved and seconded, and if there's no further discussion, we will vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is also carried. Thank you. And thanks, Councillor Ryan. I know this gets a little hard for you on your end, but we're getting through here, and it's working well, and it's great to have both you and Councillor Plante attending this meeting.
Well, it is, and actually it's working quite well for me. I'm just sitting here with my earphone and my mic,
And it's
okay.
Looking at
it's working really well.
Documents.
Okay, great.
It's
Thank you.
Cocktail hour there.
Okay, moving into bylaws. Council Indemnity Amendment Bylaw number 122101, 2011. A report from Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. The previous council had formed a council remuneration committee, and they came back to council with some recommendations. The resolution is attached to my report. One of their recommendations under compensation is that a half-day stipend at the rate of $50 for out-of-town meetings be established. This has to be done through bylaw, so a bylaw amendment to the council indemnity bylaw is put before you with that change, and that would be $50 payment to council members for half-day out-of-town meetings, and this bylaw is being presented for 3 readings.
Great. Council's wishes, please.
Michael?
I had a question before we decide on what to do, if I may.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Ryan.
I noticed in section clause 6 of the bylaw, it talks about sharing the cost of lasers. I don't think we wear those anymore. I'm wondering, cleaning this up, if we drop clause 6 of the bylaw as well.
I think that's very appropriate. Ms. Van Vienen for comment, please.
You could keep that in there and use it for your vests if you wanted to, or just take it out completely, which you want. We can make that amendment if you want.
Okay. Yeah, like I say, I've been here for 6 years now, and I haven't seen a councillor wear a blazer since I've been on council, and heading for 9 years, and I don't know that we need blazers or the sleeveless vest is not a bad idea, but I think council would be a lot more comfortable receiving nothing other than our stipend as it's prescribed. So I certainly would support having that taken out.
Well, I was just.
If I may, I would propose then that we amend it as indicated by adding that the end of 4, that we add the additional payment, and that we also clause 6.
Okay.
Yep.
First and second. What is it? Second and third.
First, second, and third.
We'll do 1, 2, and 3 of them. You bet.
1, 2, and 3.
You bet. And Councillor Rhodes, you're the seconder on that. Yeah, I think that's good. And that $50 stipend, we end up going to Oliver or something like that, and you're in there for half a day. No one feels proper about putting in. We do get a $100 allowance for being out of town. So, and it's for a day, but no one feels comfortable putting in for half a day, and yet, we have two members of council that are business people. It's nice that they can begin to start paying for their absence or paying for themselves when they're away. So this was looking at people having feeling good about being able to put in for half a day, going to meetings and things like that, rather than. Any other discussion on that? Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm happy to remove that clause 6 out of there. I'm not even sure what a blazer is. Just like to elaborate a little bit on clause D, and that $50 stipend may have an effect of reducing the overall cost, because sometimes when we do attend the half-day meetings, we would put in for the $100, and now we can reduce that down, and that's pretty fair in my mind.
Councillor Kordoff.
I was just fitted for not a blazer, but a vest. So is that still permissible under this? We'll just take out the blazers and put in vests? Somebody just said to me, here, try this on, we're ordering you a vest.
Okay.
So if that is taken out, I could still get the vest.
Oh, you can get the vest,
yeah,
but,
no, but
I think you're going to be reaching into your pocket, Councillor Kordoff.
Not a problem. I will be happy to do that. So I would support this this bylaw, and I would make a motion that we accept first, second, and third reading.
Great.
Got the rest.
Okay, we have the resolution. Any further input on there? Councillor Plant, you're fine?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Hearing no further dialogue, all in favor? Opposed? Carried?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Getting $50 half-day stipends and losing our blazers / vests. Okay, next item is under bylaws is the Town of Osoyoos sign bylaw number 1282. Everyone knows that this has been a very, very long process, and we keep coming back, and we've worked through it again. There's been a whole other presentation from Mr. Cunningham in our planning department and his staff looking at the sign bylaw. We had a lot of public input from our public hearing. We're tweaking this, reworking it, seeing if we can get it right for the business community in the Town of Osoyoos. So, Mr. Cunningham, please.
Okay, report number 9, sign bylaw. During a public hearing on the town's proposed sign bylaw on October 11th to 11th, business owners expressed concerns about the bylaw and submitted a petition requesting that the consultation process be extended. Council directed staff to submit a report with A, recommendations for further improving the sign bylaw in light of issues raised at the public hearing and from giving a second look at previous public input, and B, options on how to extend public consultation with an improved bylaw. On November 7th to 11th, staff took a report to Council with options for further improving the sign bylaw and for further extending public consultation. Council selected the following consultation options. 1. Liaise with a business owners committee as proposed in their petition, and staff have been advised that such a committee is now in place, which draws from a cross-section of different types of businesses. 2. Continue to hold interviews with individual business operators to discuss how the sign bylaw may affect them personally, including offering to prepare a sign assessment of their property ready for discussions. And 3. Take a sign bylaw back to Council by no later than their second meeting in April 2012, so that they can set a date for convening a second public hearing. Turning to the overview section of my report, attached is an 8th draft of the sign bylaw, which reflects input received from the business community and feedback from Council, while keeping an eye on the practicalities of staff, record keeping, and bylaw enforcement. Although many refinements were made, the main improvements are summarized as follows. 1. Concerns bylaw complexity. Staff simplified the bylaw to meet concerns of the business community that it was too complex, i.e., the individual sign specifications previously in Part 4 of the bylaw have been simplified and rolled into a large Schedule A, which deals with all signs requiring a permit. Also, the schedule has been enlarged to take in institutional B&B, home occupation, large real estate signs that were previously dealt with separately. And third, because the percentage coverage of fascia signs in each building face is already restricted in the schedule, it was not seen necessary to continue the present restrictions on the numbers. Similarly, the distinction between small and large faces signs has been removed. Second change made, expiry date for the sign permit. The previous bylaw draft required that the sign permit would normally expire if the allowed signage is not complete within 90 days of issuing the permit. Now the expiry period has been lengthened to 1 year to allow time for ordering, manufacturing, shipping, installing, and correcting signage, which also removes the need for phase permits, i.e. a further simplification to the bylaw. Third change, sign alterations. Our bylaw requires that no person shall erect, place, and I emphasize alter, expand, relocate, replace, or continue any sign except in conformity with this bylaw. It is now clarified that merely altering the face of a sign does not need a permit. Fourth major change, administrative variance. Concerns have been raised about signs that may just exceed our maximum limitations on sign area. The building inspector now has discretion to allow up to a 10% administrative variance in allowable sign area to accommodate differences due to non-metric sizing, recycled signs, and franchise standards. And I should note that more generally, Council can grant development variance permits on sign numbers, sizes, and heights prescribed in any sign bylaw. Fifth major change is permit fees. The town has received mixed messages on whether our sign permit fees were appropriate. To ensure a business-friendly policy, Schedule B now sets one single fee for a single permit of $75, including where there are multiple signs on the same application. Options. First, Council gives second reading as amended on December 19th to 11th to either the latest draft of the sign bylaw presented by staff, or B, the latest draft of the sign bylaw presented by staff with some Council revisions. Implications. Community, the latest sign bylaw draft includes significant changes intended to address concerns raised by our business community. Implications organizational. Council's second reading of the latest sign bylaw draft will provide a solid foundation for staff to extend the consultation process. And C, budget, there will be some small cost for advertising the extended consultation process. Recommendations, staff recommends Council give second reading to the latest draft of the sign bylaw as amended on December 19th, 2011.
Thank you. Council, please. Councillor McCordoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It seems to me that I was at that meeting in November, and there were definitely a lot of people who were very concerned about it. I commend you for going through the bylaw and taking note of those, and doing your best to fix up this bylaw. And it sounds to me like it has addressed those. So I'm particularly interested in that if we give second reading to this, it will provide a solid foundation to extend the consultation process. And I do believe that you're going to continue to do that with the business owners. So do they know about that? You've been in discussion with them, and they know that there is a committee set up, and they will be taking part.
I will be sending a letter to them tomorrow, notifying them of Council's decision, and also advancing them the latest copy of the signing bylaw.
Good, thank you. I'm quite happy with the adjustments.
Okay. And I believe they have a committee set up. Mm-hmm. They're right. Correct. Any other discussion? I just like to say that we're certainly reaching out to the business community. Even like they were mentioning that we wanted to be business friendly, new people coming to town trying to set up a business. We had the rates. It could have been, if you had a couple of signs, it could have been quite a bit more than it is now, and we paid attention to that and trying to lower that down so that we are looking at towards being business friendly and welcoming new businesses here, and don't come to our town and we whack you over the head with a lot of fees to open up your door. We want business to come here. It's very important to us. So we're definitely acting on some of the recommendations that came from that meeting. So and we're going out again, and hopefully we're very, very close this time with maybe a couple small tweaks or something that we can move this through. But again, we'll find out from the committee and see what they think. So, Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with the recommended changes. I'm just wondering, Director Cunningham, if you could just give me a little bit of a timeline. I know you had the date in there, the finalization date is in April, but I want to make sure that the consultation process is complete before we start getting there, and a little bit of a timeline would be very helpful for me at this point. Okay, well, as I mentioned, I'll be sending out a letter tomorrow to the spokespeople of the Businessmen's Committee, and we'll be finding out who the members are of that committee, and we'll be proposing that we have our first meeting as early as possible in the new year, and that we continue through with those committee meetings very regularly to reach an expeditious solution. At the same time, we will be advertising in the paper, as I mentioned, for anybody who wants to come and have an individual interview with staff, and if they want, we can prepare an assessment of the property showing what the impacts would be of the latest bylaw. And in the letter that goes to the business owners committee, it will be mentioned that our absolute deadline, as was previously established by council, is that we bring back recommendations no later than the second meeting in April 2012. But we shall also offer to them that if they agree that the bylaws in a satisfactory state that they can agree with in principle, that we could in fact take it back early. So we'll see how the process unfolds.
That would be a hallelujah day.
Mm-hmm.
Council, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I would make that motion as worded in the report.
Okay. And seconder on that, Councillor McCordoff. Councillor Ryan, any comments, please?
The only comment I would make, Mr. Mayor, is that I think this is a very good basis for the discussions. I think staff have done a very good job in incorporating some of the really important considerations that were presented by the business owners, and I hope that it goes quickly and that there are further considerations that brought forward very candidly. I'm in support of.
Okay, Councillor Plant, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do also, as Councillor Ryan has said, support what we've done in including our business community and getting consultation from them and from those people in our community. So I do look forward to this hopefully being maybe a conclusion to some of the concerns that they've had. So we'll see how this goes, and things are looking good, and again, good work by all staff there for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Sorry, I was a little fast on the opposed there. Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Let's just keep going down this road and keep smiling.
Probably determined by now, a pretty determined and sometimes stubborn person. This will be seen through to the end.
Thank you very much. Okay, into the business section of the meeting. Some council meeting reports for Mayor Wells and Councillor Rhodes. These are the $100 out-of-town rewards that town gets for when we have left town, or council gets when we left town. We were at the a George Cuff presentation in West Kelowna, full day. This was for newly elected and some people like me that need a little upgrade on governance. And it's a whole model of governance that's basically been developed. It's the committee of the whole system, brought forward by George Cuff. He's written 2 books on it, and is considered quite a guru in governance in Western Canada politics. So Rhodes, I, and Councillor McCordoff also applied, but
Not yet.
Oh, no,
I
attended.
will. Oh, attended.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
Yes.
as did, yes.
Yes, as did Councillor Plant also. So
Yes, correct.
anyway, it was a real good workshop day, giving people how meetings are supposed to proceed. So it was well worthwhile, and we're looking for a motion to pay the councillors, please. Councillor McCordoff, Councillor
Ryan.
Yes, I'd be happy to support that.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. The next item up for business is the council remuneration and expenses paid. Mr. Romanko is going to take the lead on this. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. This report is on the council remuneration and expenses paid for the period December 2010 to November 2011 as per Bylaw 948. Section 168 of the Community Charter states that at least once a year a council must have prepared a report separately listing the following for each council member by name: the total amount of remuneration paid to council member for discharge of office, including any amount specified as an expense allowance, total amount of expenses paid for council member to the council member as reimbursement for expenses included by council member or as an allowance that is not reported under the first paragraph, the total amount of any benefits, including the insurance policies and policies for medical or dental services provided to the council member or the member's dependents, any contracts reported under Section 107, disclosure of contracts with council members and former council members, including a general description of their nature. This is according to Bylaw 948 and the Community Charter, and presented as a part of this package is that exact report that identifies the information as requested by the bylaw and the Community Charter. So our recommendation is to receive the attached council remuneration and expense report for the period December 2010 to November 30th, 2011.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, please.
I'll move.
Okay. And the seconder on that?
I'll second that, Mr.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Ryan. I have a comment to make, and this is for the people that are looking at this. This is all the money's paid. This is our mileage, or if we're again, if we went to Kelowna, when you drive up, we get mileage for it. That's included in the expenses paid. I have a town cell phone. That's considered part of expenses paid to me because they pay the bill on my behalf. So that's part of the money that the mayor there is on expenses. So it really covers all monies paid to elected officials, and this is a good thing for the town to have access to and to see on a yearly basis. Any further discussion from council? All in favor, please. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Under Business 3, and this has been very interesting. Under Business 3, we have a report from our Community Development Manager, Mr. Jim Newman, on the airport obstacle assessment. Now, everyone's aware that we've been looking at, all of a sudden, out of the sky, we have these people interested in this airport development. And the very, very first thing that has to be done is this airport obstacle report. And it's really going to tell us whether that even can be an airport of 4,000 feet or 5,000 feet capable of landing Dash 8s. So until we get that airport assessment or obstruction assessment done, you're really just guessing. So we're moving forward on that, I believe. So Mr. Newman.
Good Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Excuse me. Yes, so the subject of this report is the airport obstacle assessment support for funding. And a bit of the background, back in September 6th, Council received a presentation from Tom McHale of Gemstone Workforce Logistics and residents of Osoyoos regarding the possibility of expansion of the Osoyoos Airport. And part of that discussion at the meeting was the requirement of the obstacle assessment. And from that subsequent meeting, there were several meetings took place with respect to that assessment and moving forward in the potential for expanding the runway. And one of those meetings was with SNC Lavalin Group and as well Tom McHale and the Airport Expansion Group. And subject to that, in November, the following motion was made that Councillor Rhodes and seconded by Councillor Ryan, and resolved that Mr. McHale be advised that Council is in support of the completion of obstacle assessment and pavement index study in principle, provided it is done by a reputable company, and that the staff be in discussion with Mr. McHale to obtain costing figures. On Wednesday, November 30th, I received an email from Mr. McHale advising that he had been in discussion with Mr. Ed McDonald, Jet Pro Limited, and is recommending moving ahead with the proposal to complete the obstacle procedure assessment at the cost of $18,000. And in the email, it was also stated that Mr. McHale was requesting staff to bring the proposal to Council, requesting cost sharing with the group. Staff believes that it would be the advantage for the town to support the obstacle procedure assessment in the tune of $5,000.
Thank you. Council, please.
Mayor?
Yes, Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I'd be happy to speak on this. I do support us getting a handle on whether our town can use that airport for something beyond the small planes that it seems to support at the moment. And I know that we have some money available, but when I look at the proposal as to what will be happening, I see that we really have this is in some sense the initial one that is going to determine whether we will go forward. If we go forward, we're looking at something in the neighborhood of $55,000 plus dollars to put it into operation or to make it operational with the new guidance systems. And I was also wondering because I know in our marina development, in the riparian study, my recollection is that the developer upfronted the cost for that, which was again starting point, and was the risk capital that had to be put up. So I'd like to know if we have any feeling about whether the proponents are prepared to put up the risk capital for this initial cost, or whether some of the partners who appeared and who were supportive of the undertaking, and that the town would use its, become a partner perhaps after it became clear that those that are proposing this have determined that going forward and spending additional money is best in.
Okay, and I can appreciate that question, Councillor Ryan. First off, I think if we commit ourselves to putting up a maximum of $5,000, well, the study may not go ahead if that's all we're putting up. Although I know Tom McHale from Gemstone has already put up $9,000 of his corporation's money to pay towards half of this. There has been developments as late as 1 o'clock this afternoon that I've had, and Mr. Romanko has had some of these. Mr. Romanko and I had very, very welcoming discussions with the Osoyoos Indian Band through their development corporation, and they certainly have indicated a desire to be a partner and a player in this, and a funder. So while it's not cast in stone, that dialogue has certainly been there, and it was very, very rewarding for us to hear that. At noon today, I had a discussion with Mr. Sean Salem of Enoteca, the wine corporation, and they would operate Le Vieux Pain and La Stella Winery in Osoyoos. And he also has indicated that he would be a funder and a partner in this. So truly, in my mind at this time, it would appear, and I'm using it would appear, that we have 4 funders. And I just think that's so exciting to have 3 funders from the private venture portion to come forward and be interested in this report. And again, the report is the paramount report for the whole plan and program. We don't know whether we're going ahead or ever. This would be a Town of Osoyoos document that you'd be able to use if the answer is no, that this doesn't work as a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot runway. That's positive too. We need that information so that other people don't sit there down in the future looking, should we go down this road or should we not go down this road? I think this is just crucial, and to have the three private partners being funders for the study is absolutely huge. So I really hope that Council puts this through and makes this recommendation that we go in for a maximum of $5,000. Councillor Rhodes.
I'll speak to that, at least at my turn.
Okay, Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make that motion based on option 1, but I'd like the wording up to that dollar value that's requested rather than a specific amount. My understanding is that there is going to be some cost sharing in it, and I would like that sharing to be equal, and if it's less than that amount, so rather than just giving the 5,000, I'd like to work up to 5,000. And I would like to speak to that if there's a seconder.
Okay.
I'd be happy to support that, and also I'd like to speak.
Okay, Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 3 years ago, sitting on council, you couldn't get the time of day out of me about airports. I was speaking very negatively in public about it, but you know, when you see a vision and a dream brought forward by a group of people that are experts in this field, I'm getting very, very excited about these opportunities that are coming this way, and I think that this is a good investment for our community. There could possibly be a lot of potential to expand that facility, and I just think it's an overall a good project to be involved in at this point. And I really want to emphasize the other side of the coin is if it doesn't work out, it's not an incredibly huge investment in our future, and we can just cut the cord at that point and go back to square one with it.
And that no answer, we'd still be moving forward. We would still be moving forward with a whole different plan and program. So yeah, it's real solid. Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm really happy with the information you brought to the table, Mr. Mayor, and I agree with Councillor Rhodes. So we have put in the neighborhood of $250,000 in that airport so far, and this is a very small amount in light of what we have already invested. And it is crucial, as I have said, and I certainly don't want to be backing off this. Airports are for planes, not cars, and so once we know, and I'm impressed by the credentials of JetPro as well as in the Kale Group, and One other thing that occurred to me is that it will, depending on how this happens, we will have some responsibility for making sure that the surrounding areas do not provide built obstacles as well. And that came out in some of the valuable information that they provided us with. So I feel that with the information you provided, I'm supportive of us going up to that $5,000 limit.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Pond, any comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also agree with everything that's being said here. This assessment, to me, needs to be done. It puts us in a yes or no situation where we then can determine where we're moving up there. There are options in both directions. So the excitement for us to get this assessment done and the possibility of an answer, whether yes or no, we are still moving forward in that area. And I think that's been an issue for the last little while, is we really haven't looked at what we're doing with that spot up there for the last 3 years, and this is it. This gives us the answer that we need. Yes, it's an airport, and there's possibilities and potential through this group, or no, and we're heading in this other direction, which we've already looked at some opportunities in that direction as well. So I'm all for supporting this, getting this assessment done for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McCordoff, please.
I certainly agree with everything that's said, and I would support this to a maximum of 5,000.
So maybe we just have the motion read back just to make sure we've got it right here.
Okay, moved by Councillor Rhodes and seconded by Councillor Ryan, and resolved that the town is willing to support the assessment up to $5,000 for the completion of the airport obstacle assessment study.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Exciting times just to get that done. And this Tom McHale from Gemstone, just as a matter of interest, his company moved over 100,000 people last year in Canada. So these folks know what they're doing, and this report will be done in the month of January. So we're not going to be hanging out there for a long period of time. We'll know what's going on very, very quickly. So it's interesting to be dealing with this group that have such a high interest in our town of Osoyoos. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Newman. Next item of business 4, development permit number 1105, Sandy Beach Motel. Mr. Steve Shannon, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I got a small development permit for you for your consideration today. It's from the owners of the Sandy Beach Motel. The subject property is located on the waterfront at 6706 Ponderosa Drive, and that's shown on the attached property location map with this package. The proposed development includes a removal of a small existing cabin and replacing it with a brand new 2-story triplex motel building. Currently, the small existing cabin does not comply with the town zoning setback of 3 meters for the interior side lot line. However, the new building will be moved over approximately 2 meters and will comply with the town's building setbacks. And this can be seen if you look closely on Schedule A, which forms part of the permit attached to the report. The proposed triplex includes 1 unit on the main floor and 2 smaller units on the upper level. And as proposed, the development will comply with the town of Osoyoos parking regulations. Now, it actually falls under 2 of our development permit areas in our OCP. The first one is the commercial development permit area. The property's land use designation in the OCP is tourist commercial, which makes it subject to these commercial development permit area guidelines. And for that fact, we've prepared this development permit, which is attached to the report for your consideration. The exterior of the triplex will be designed to match the existing form and character of the existing buildings. The exterior walls will be covered with white stucco, with red clay tiles on the roof. The landscaping will consist of sandy beach areas, some new grass, an extension of their existing beach access walkway, and the relocation of some of the existing shrubs.
The exterior lighting on the building will all be dark sky friendly. Moving on to the riparian development permit area. As required by the town's riparian development permit area guidelines, Development Services reviewed the riparian assessment before the qualified environmental professional submitted it to the Ministry of Environment. And on September the 1st, 2011, the town received notification from MOE that an assessment had actually been filed, which, as per the riparian area's provincial regulation, that allows the town to proceed with development approvals. On December the 12th, 2011, the Director of Planning and Development Services approved the riparian development permit specifically for this project. And it should be noted that no works will take place within a riparian setback of 18.6 meters, and that's also shown on as a red line on Schedule A of the attached development permit. Point out that to ensure that no erosion or siltation occurs into the lake from this development, on-site monitoring will be provided by the QEP, and that's also a condition of that riparian development permit. On November the 9th, 2011, the Advisory Design Panel reviewed the application for both form and character and landscaping, and the panel supported the overall form and character and the associated landscaping. The implications, community implications of this project will be that it'll update the motel itself, and it'll provide additional motel units to the community. Organizational implications are that the new building will comply with the town's zoning bylaw setbacks, and under budget, additional revenue will be created through the hotel room tax. Options for council are that council approves development permit number 1105, subject to the terms and conditions described in the permit, or 2, that council does not approve the development permit number 1105, and our recommendation is that you go with option 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon. Council's wishes, please. Councillor McCordoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It seems that that the planning department has definitely done their homework, and they seem to have looked at all of the angles, so I would be very happy to support option 1, that we approve the development permit.
Okay. And seconder, Councillor Rhodes, please. Any discussion on this? Any concerns? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. And that's a great addition to our town. That Sandy Beach Motel, they've always been some classic buildings over there. So to have this one right down there is going to be just great. Yep. And expanding and offering our tourist experience to more people. The next item up is Business 5, Interpretive Signage.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. To begin the report, Ken Favreau, the museum curator, submitted a letter to the town about a proposal that he's preparing for a grant application, a $10,000 grant application with the Legacy Fund of BC. The deadline for that will be in February, and the museum is seeking the town's support and matching funding for this interpretive signage proposal. The town has interpretive signage identified in its business plan already, and money set aside in the resort municipal funds. Staff is currently preparing a design-build RFP for the proposed interpretive signage. The proposals from the RFP will need to include sign graphic design, sign material, and installation systems, as well as example of work and references, designs for standalone signs as well as signs that can be mounted on buildings, and standard designs for both environmental and historical interpretive signage. The RFP will assist the museum's application by providing cost estimates, a requirement of the grant application. The museum has proposed to undertake research and writing of the signs, gathering photographs and other documents, and design mock-ups of the signs. The museum's goal is to create 10 signs in the first phase of this project. Also, the Desert Center has expressed a willingness to work with the town on environmental signage content that would mostly be located along the canal trail. This will not be included in this project. And just for council's information, the Desert Center has recently worked with the RDOS on some signage that goes from the airport, north of the airport, to the Desert Center. Staff recommends that the town ensures the following conditions in return for the town contributing funds. That council has an opportunity for input on the sign, content, and location. A public open house be held displaying the draft signs, and that council has final approval on the signs to be installed in their locations. That the town will serve as a project manager and coordinate with the sign contractor. That that all the town funds go directly to the final graphic design, sign fabrication, and installation. For 2012 and 2013, we have in our resort funding $22,000 for wave signage and interactive signs, and $20,000 for public art and heritage display. Although the resort funding is $42,000, staff recommends contributing $12,500 to this project, with in-kind contributions of staff time and staff resources for coordinating sign installation. Other RMF monies should be kept for other projects such as environmental signage, wayfinding signage, public art, and other potential funding leveraging opportunities. At this time, the town is simply committing funding to match the museum's grant application. Following the RFP process, additional monies may be needed to be allocated to the first phase or future phases of the historical interpretive signage program. Some of the implications are that for the community, interpretive signs provide a more complete visitor experience. They educate the public and pay homage to the town's pioneers and history. Organizational, the planning technician will serve as a project manager for the interpretive sign program, and staff time is saved by coordinating with the museum, but staff time will be required for the RFP, coordinating with the sign consultant, and installing the signs. Budget, if successful, the town will have leveraged its money for more money through the legacy fund, and there'll be additional costs for sign installation. Also, I think there might be opportunities to partner with businesses on some sponsoring to help pay for some of these signs. Finally, staff recommends that staff proceed with the design-build RFP for interpretive signage, and to support the Osoyoos Museum Society's grant proposal to the Heritage Legacy Fund of BC for funding towards heritage interpretive signage, and provide in-kind contributions of staff time, as well as funding of up to $12,500, subject to the following conditions, which I mentioned earlier in the report.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. I'm sure there's questions on this, because I certainly have some. There's a lot of different figures out there, and it looks like the application for funding is for $10,000. Is that correct? That's
yes,
the
yes.
number I see. And then I see committing $12,500, $42,000, and that's $22,000 for wayfinding and public art and heritage display. So there's quite a bit of numbers here, and if we pass this or make the motion to approve this, is it $12,500? Is it $10,000? And what's our commitment on this? Maybe Mr. Romanko, because I see it's resort municipality funding on this.
Well, first of all, this I guess as a general comment, I feel that this is just a great opportunity. It's something that we had planned to take a look at in the coming year, and when Ken came to us and said, well, here's an opportunity to, that we can partner, it was a good opportunity for us to lever money, and we both had common objectives. The difference between the $10,000 to match and the $2,500 difference, basically we're just identifying potentially we don't feel that we can carry out this project as a whole for $20,000. That there'll probably be more costs involved, and we're speculating that a minor $2,500 may be needed to pull this ahead. We're not sure how much those signs are going to cost. We may be coming back for more money from council from the rest of the resort municipality funding, but we feel at this particular point in time that a little bit of extra money will help us carry this project through.
Okay, and I've got more questions.
Go for it.
So interpretive signage. So is this environmentally interpretive or historically interpretive? What angle are we coming, or both?
Well, right now there's two separate projects. This is looking at heritage interpretation.
Heritage.
Yes. So and within the package, you'll see that Ken has proposed 10 different heritage sites that would potentially be signed with the storyline relative to the history in the community. In terms of the 10 sites, that's why within the scope of the report, there may not be agreement by council that these are the 10 sites that should be presented. So that's why we're saying, council would have the final approval on the site. So during the course of the discussions between the museum and staff and us, we'll be bringing back to council potentially the 10 sites and that would be presented. Now, depending on the nature of the sign, the graphic costs, the materials, these signs run any place between $1,500 and $3,000, $4,000. So we may have to do it in a phased nature, but at the same time, this is an opportunity to lever $10,000 on both sides, achieving the museum's goals and also our goals.
So if we were on Pioneer Walkway by the bridge, the sign would be like some of those big British Columbia signs, and it would be explaining Osoyoos, the narrowing of the land, or the coming together of the waters, or it would be of that nature.
We haven't decided on the script yet.
But that's the nature.
That's
I'm in the right ballpark.
Yeah, you're in the ballpark, and not the nature of the stand. It could be built, like it could be a billboard, could be a flat type of signage. We'll be looking at a number of different structural presentations, formats for structural presentation. Again, is it going to be what is the nature of the material that will in fact take our heat and the sun? The storyline Ken has said that using his resources and the photographs from the museum, he'll be able to script the stories and provide the photos. But again, all that has to be put into graphic design and built into the sign. So the second point, the environmental one, was one that we wanted to do on the canal trail.
Okay.
That's all part of the resort municipality funding as well, and we just wanted to show that this is a separation of those two particular projects.
Okay. Well, one more question. Sorry about this.
Yeah.
And this would go ahead whether we got the funding or not. Is this part of our business plan or part of our RM resort municipality funding that's been identified?
This is part of the resort municipality capital plan, and part of it was, as explained in a report, was that many visitors come to this community, ask a lot of questions about the history, and looking at our walking paths and our our community, people are always interested in what are the major points. As well, Ken is looking at doing an interpretive walking story that would people can pick up a tape or a CD or an iPod or whatever they use now, and be able to go along a walking path and actually be told the history of the community based on these various points. As often is, you will have probably some discussion about what are the priority points to be identified, and there we're relying on the expertise of the museum, but we're also relying on the expertise of the people of the community. That this being a public project, that's why we're proposing a more public input process relative to the placements of the signages and the stories to be told.
I'm glad I asked all those questions, because I know a way lot more than I know when I started, that's for sure. And it's good information, and I think it's a good project. Mr. Cunningham, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one piece of clarification, because I don't think this came out necessarily very clearly. But we are interested in having a common look the signage, both for the heritage and the environmental. So the money that's going forth for the design build request, the idea is to end up with a sign design and construction that will suit both types of signs. So we'll be getting double mileage out of this. So the first application will be for the heritage signage, and later on we'll be putting more environmental signage along our trails. There's always the possibility, of course, that in some locations you might have a mix. There could be an environmental story to tell and a heritage story. I just wanted to clarify that point.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, please, further questions?
Mayor, I have a couple of questions.
Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understand that because the grant amount is somewhere in the 10 to 15,000 range, it would be really double what they would expect to receive from the heritage branch. So we would be putting it, so it might be a $20,000 proposal, 10,000 coming from the heritage branch and then the rest coming from the town. Is that correct?
Mr. Remenko? That's right. You know, the grant amount is 10,000. We're identifying 12,500. But again, the costs are not only like those are the hard costs. Like there's a significant amount of costs that go into this project that are not identified within the budget. For example, the staff costs of the town, also the staffing costs and the time of the museum staff that are involved in writing the storylines, identifying the appropriate photographs to present. So the actual budget is quite a bit larger than the grant application.
Sure. Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, I didn't see the actual terms of reference, but the other question I had was that our 12,500 is that we know what proportion of that is hard cash and what proportion staff time have we. But did I understand the report correctly, or is that all cash?
That would be the cash. That would be the cash contribution out of the resort municipality funds.
Okay, so we'd be putting staff time into it, but it's not being counted in that 12,500.
That's right. That's the hard cash that, in fact, will, as we identify in the report, go towards the construction of the sign, the graphics, the installation. And depending on when we do the request for proposal and we find potentially what the cost of each sign will be, we'll be able to determine how many signs we can purchase within this particular project that we've identified 22,000.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Councillor McCordoff, please.
Yes, thank you. I was looking at the list of the 10 spots that you have identified, and I just think that we need to include Home Hardware in there at some point. They have already done a fantastic job of keeping us up to date on some of the old things that have happened around town. So there's just an extra. Thank you.
Mr. Remenko?
And again, like I said, there's a lot of discussion to occur relative to what are the top sites to be presented. I think part of it, though, is that there probably are some criteria in around the sites that have to be presented, and so and that's why even looking at the list, you know, when the staff looked at the list, we said, well, we had some plans from the town's perspective to present to council. These 10 don't quite meet with our 10. And that's why if the community or the town is going to be putting some funds into it, they want to have the final say in terms of what the signs will be, considering also that they will be going on public lands.
Great, and I just hope that we recognize seniority on that approval process. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, just one more question about the $12,500. And I know in our resort municipality program we have to make a list and have it approved. And I'm wondering if that's part of the approved portion, whether we're expecting it to be approved or whether it's a dream for the future. And if it's not approved, are we going to have to pull this money out of other funding areas?
No, this particular, interpretive signage is in the capital plan, and as of last week, I'm quite sure that the province is just scripting a letter now approving our capital plan from 2012 for a 5-year period. Now all they have to do is come up with a grant program to match the 5-year period. But we will have the money. We do have commitment for 2012.
Okay, that's great. Any further dialogue? And this has been great. I really think that that there's a complete understanding of what we're doing and where and how and what. Well, everything but the where, I guess, Mr. Faberhold. But everything else seems to be in place. Any questions, Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to make that motion.
Okay.
As described in the report.
Okay. Recommended motion and a seconder on that, please. Councillor McCordoff, sorry. Fairly new councillors here too. So, any further information or concerns or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That'll be a good project, I'm sure. The next item would be Business 6, which was the addition to the agenda. There's 2 appointments to be made by Town Council. I have 2 recommended, two candidates to be considered, and I'm recommending them, and Council would have to make the motion to appoint them. One would be the Town Councillor on the Economic Development Council that we announced the members of earlier in the meeting, and my recommendation would be Councillor Mike Plant. And the other one, do you want them separately, Ms. Van Vienen? Okay, that's great. For the Economic Development Committee, Councillor Mike Plant. Looking for that motion, Councillor Rhodes, McCordoff. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councillor Plant, you're now on Economic Development. And the second appointment is the Waterfront Master Plan, and my recommendation is Councillor Rhodes. Could I have that motion, please? Councillor McCordoff. Thank you. And Councillor Ryan seconding?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councillor Rhodes, you are now on the Waterfront Master Plan. So good luck down there. It's going to need a good steady hand to keep bringing it through to completion. That's the end of that section of the meeting, the business section. Next item up is notice of motion. Anyone serving notice of motion for future meetings? Hearing none, we'll move into reports. Looks like we're time to pay some bills under the general account, looking for an amount of $912,047.72. Under the Sun Bowl Arena, $11,005.21. And to receive for payroll accounts, $96,949.37 for the periods of November 26th to November the 9th. Any discussion on those? Hearing none, they will be adopted by consensus. There's some committee reports, the meetings, the minutes of some committee reports, advisory design panel minutes of May the 11th, 2010. That's going back a bit. And also the advised design panel minutes of November the 9th, 2011. So if there's is there any dialogue on that? Any questions? Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to pause for about half a second and just acknowledge the members of this committee, and I know it has nothing to do with the content of these reports, but You know, once again in our community, we struggle, you know, with the volunteer component of almost everything that we do. Talked about it in length this morning about other projects and that kind of thing. Just a quick pause. Thank you very much for attending these meetings and looking after this part of our community. Very, very much appreciated.
Great, and thank you for the pause to recognize volunteers. They're always the backbone of any small community, and particularly so in Osoyoos. We have a great core of volunteers really coming forward. We've been asking for them to come forward more and more, and they've certainly been joining in to help guide the direction of this town. So any further discussion on the minutes here? If there is none, they will be adopted by consensus. Thank you. And I'm just going to back up. Okay. And I'd just like to comment when we were doing the funding there, that general account of $900,000. They were all, well, other than the Sun Bowl Arena, which we think would be a big number, it wasn't. But the payroll accounts, that involves some payout of sort of bank time and things like that for the employees. And the same thing with that $912,000. That's a abnormally large amount of number, but it's sort of that year-end clearing time where things are getting squared away with federal governments and provincial governments and other governments. So the building inspection report ended up down at the bottom, so we'll move that up now. I'm looking for a motion to accept and receive, please. Councillor McCordoff, Councillor Rhodes, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Going to reports number 3, report from our CAO, Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just a few points of business that the administration has been focused on in the last couple of weeks. Certainly an important part of this particular time is business planning and budget development. Our business plan is a 3-year business plan that we update annually, and the budget, again, an annual document that we've been involved in discussions with council over the last couple of weeks. Also, council orientation has taken a few days as well, bringing everybody up on the same level of information. Currently, the recreation grant is just being finalized. That's that provincial program that the province announced, the potential for a $400,000 grant, and our project being the walkway from Golf Course Drive to the high school. We've also completed the Resort Municipality Strategic Plan, and as I mentioned earlier, we're just waiting for the letter to be scripted to finally let us know that they've approved that particular plan. Also, our community development manager has been quite involved with discussions with the hotel operators to seek out support for the additional hotel room tax renewal. This is a very important aspect to the community because our resort municipality status depends on the business operators coming to agreement on that matter, the hotel business operators. You've seen a couple of the major business items here today, one being the sign bylaw, bringing it up to speed based on public feedback. Also from the Committee of the Whole this morning, the Marina Operations Strategy. Very shortly we will be having the slips installed after they are constructed. However, that just brings the next phase of how we're going to operate it, which led to some very interesting discussions today. So stay tuned for that particular area. And the last area I want to touch on is the Northwest Sewer Project. Certainly a very visible portion of the activity in the community here was the work drilling under the highway, and certainly our contractor has been doing an excellent job on that project here in town. And also out on the north end of the lake, we're moving along very positively and shutting down for Christmas. But we will be back into the last 3 months of this, and many of us looking forward to ensuring that sewer flows and that. So with that, that's my report for today. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Romanko, and yes, that northwest sewer, that'll be another great day when that project is finally given the full completion stamp. That brings us to some councillor reports, and at the last meeting and right after the election, there was a mayor's challenge out there to the councillors to put together a small program that they wanted to champion. And sometimes we get these desires from the community, and sometimes they just take a little councillor's touch to sort of help them steer it through and maybe bring it to fruition a little bit sooner. So in the councillors' reports, if they're ready or so desire, they're going to sort of make what they're going to do on this on being the champion in the town of Osoyoos. So now, do I have the order that we're in? Mm-hmm. Oh yes. So, councillors' report, and the first one from sunny Arizona, as I'm sure the sun is down there. Councillor Plant, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to say hi from Arizona. Yet the sun is going down a little bit here now, so it's getting a little bit cooler, but still nice. I can accept it. I just wanted to actually go back a little bit in time because I was prepared to kind of give a little bit of councillors' report at our last council meeting, because I just wanted everybody to know that we have us new electees. I'm going to talk for Sue maybe here a little bit and say that we've been thrown into the mix really quick, and so there were some things that came up almost instantly as we were elected and into the following week. And one of the great things that I got to do was meet with a gentleman named Azair Creamers, and he is actually the executive director and head coach for the South Okanagan Youth Soccer Association. And I was invited to just kind of sit in on on some of the classes he was giving at the elementary school here. And his idea this year was to start promoting soccer, the youth program in Karamias, Oliver, and Osoyoos, and really establishing the soccer community. And I just thought it was really neat to see him and his interaction and how our kids were getting involved in that. And it'd be nice to see him come back, introduce himself, obviously, to council and see where he was looking to go in Osoyoos and some of the areas of tournaments and such. And then we went on to November 26th, Festival of the Trees up at the Inkameep Cellars and Spirit Ridge. Fantastic event. Brought my daughter Hope there. Tons of activities for the kids on that day. And actually, the Festival of the Tree, I think it runs for the voting, runs until January the 4th. So if you haven't got a chance to check out some of the trees that have been decorated by people in our community, please do so. On that night, too, I just wanted to mention that they raised just over $2,600 for the Children's Hospital and the South Okanagan Children's Charity. So good work by all up there. And then November 30th was our first actual governance meeting or workshop with the George Cuff workshop up in West Kelowna. And from that, me personally, there was some relevant principles, obviously, that I took away from that, and I look forward to using the next 3 years on council. Then came back and jumped in on the tourism market forum, which was held at the Walnut Beach. And this is a tourism consortium that's being created. It's in its infant stages. And it's a consortium where you have some partners such as Destination Osoyoos, our Indian band, the Art and Culture, South Okanagan Chamber of Commerce, the Oliver Tourism, and Oliver Osoyoos Wine Association are involved in. And the idea, I think, for them is to start collaborating and partnerships in different events throughout the South Okanagan, specifically our Oliver and Osoyoos area. So I see that being a relationship that will blossom, and I think one of their big projects to start with was event calendar, so making sure that we're not duplicating events on certain days and that we can all go out and enjoy those. And then the big weekend of December 2nd to 4th, I've kind of got it all in the same spot, but it started off actually at Smitty's. I put that on here, Toys for Tots. And in conjunction with that event, there was so many great events that were held all week. And you know, again, just generous contributions by all the residents, employees, to the food bank, to the Toys for Tots. We had the pleasure of going on the Saturday to the Osoyoos Baptist Church for the Santa Claus breakfast, and I also got to enjoy some of the Oliver Osoyoos Wine Association Winter in Wine Country weekend, and did some of those events, and they were all family friendly, and again, just doing great things for some of the non-charitable organizations. So it was fantastic to see. And then we did the Christmas light up, and I think I'm still waiting for our award from the town on our float. That's what we call it. But we did a great job, I thought, on the lights, and it was actually really well attended, and the weather turned out great, so it was good to see everybody there for that as well. And then we went on December 8th. We got a chance to see the unveiling of the Integrated Community Sustainability Plan. It was presented by the Community Sustainable Action Team, and that was super exciting. I know it's going to be fun to play a little bit with the economic development and with this plan and keeping momentum and the plan of creating a sustainable future. As we move forward with December 10th, the anniversary of the Canada Border Service. This year marked their 150th anniversary since the first customs port of entry was established at Osoyoos, BC in 1861. And again, it wasn't a ton of people there to recognize this, but I just wanted to say, relative to 1861, Abraham Lincoln was President of the United States. So when that came up, I just took and I realized how important and how long it had been there. So again, congrats to them on that as well. And then I had the pleasure of going to the official opening of the Jim Pattison Center of Excellence in Sustainable Building Technologies and Renewable Energy Conservation. And this building is not only, from what I got from that building, is the classes have been going on there since June. But that building is not only just to be taught in, but I think there's a process and there's ways to look at the technology of just how they built that, and it's a teaching tool in itself. So it'll be fun to again work with our sustainability team and our plan, and using some of the technologies that we got to see there. So. And then we had the Regional Trails Master Plan Open House on December 13th, and got a chance to take a look at some maps and provide our feedback on trail priorities in the South Okanagan and the Similkameen. And let's a little talk about Mark Woods explaining that the major goal of this plan is to find a balance that allows hikers, bikers, equestrian riders, and motorized vehicles to use local trails safely and comfortably. And the way that we can still get involved with that is there's an online trial survey at www.clickhikebike.com. That's clickhikebike.com. So we can still get involved with that. It's going to be a long process, obviously, but it looks at creating trails all through the South Okanagan. So if you get a chance, please take a look at that. And then on December 14th, we got the chance, and I believe that was the day we did some strategic planning and workshop, and it was just a great meeting with the directors to see what activities, what directions we're going here. And at this point, I probably put in right now, Mayor Stu Wells has challenged us, councillors, to champagne a project in our community, and I've decided to place my efforts in Splash Park. And the Splash Park, to me, symbolizes a strength in our community and can strengthen our local economy by creating this affordable and accessible recreational opportunity. And I think it'll give us a chance to enhance Osoyoos' recreation department and summer camp programs. So I see it as something that can be safely used by all here and create a unique play value for children. And again, creating a maximum relationship between our recreation development department and our summer programs. And last but not least, I guess in closing, I just want to wish our mayor, councillors, directors, town staff, and the residents of Joyce a happy and merry holiday season from my wife Holly, and that would be it from Arizona.
Thanks a lot, Mike. That was a great report. Although I don't know if I'll ever let you put a double header together again. and good luck on your championing project. And what hopefully we're going to learn from this is how council really works, and how you work through and with our staff in achieving that. And I know you and I have talked, and I've already got some good information for you that I can pass on that splash park, and I sure hope it can prove to be successful. There's a couple of issues there, but if they fly, man, would that ever be great. So all the best on the Christmas season.
Thank you.
Next up is Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry. Always really appreciate the opportunity to talk about things that we're going to do in our community, and as you did 3 years ago, you allowed us to pick some projects that we'd be interested in moving forward, and regrettably I picked one that never went anywhere, never did get lights on those darn buoys over there, but had nothing to do with anything that we were in control of. So on October 3rd, 2011, we had a delegation that provided information on need for a community dog park. Jody Hoffman was quite convincing and provided a list of approximately 400 individuals that clearly supported her idea. So I've decided to use this opportunity and make this my project. I had an opportunity to discuss this situation with Jody, and it's important that we understand that the list of 400 supporters is made up of dog lovers who really feel that there's a need for a dog-specific area in our town. And many of those people on the list are not necessarily dog lovers, but they really want to know where the dogs are. And I just found that this was a real interesting dynamic on that list. So we determined, first off, the water access for dogs is not necessarily a year-round necessity with this. But it is very, very important during the summertime for both resident and tourist dogs. And additionally, it was felt that we really don't have anywhere that will allow us to have, water access in a sizable off-lease area. We just couldn't really come up with any area that would work for both. So we kind of thought that 2 areas might be necessary, and I just made a short little list here. And first off, a designated area directly below the museum would best suit the water access needs. We kind of felt that area is underused, or not really used for much of anything other than transient sleeping down there and that kind of thing. Secondly, we felt a designated area adjacent to the tennis court ball diamond area would be a perfect area for controlled off-leash dog activity. We also felt that both areas would require bag dispensers and refuse containers, and certainly the area up near the tennis court ball diamond area would work really well if there was some tap or water dispensing facility up there for drinking water for the dogs. So just in conclusion, Jody Hoffman, the 400 people that signed that little petition, and myself would be very, very appreciative if Council would support this initiative, and that Council asked staff to provide a report. And just as a sidebar, I think we've done that already. We've moved this forward a little bit. But I'd like to just kind of include in there that if it could be done in a very timely manner, I think that's one of the goals of these projects, and move this thing forward, and perhaps maybe even look towards having these facilities set up for the upcoming tourist season. And that kind of concludes my report. I think you wanted an overview of what we were going to champion, and that would be mine. And this is our last meeting before Christmas. I'd like to wish the mayor, council, all the staff that have worked so hard over the last year a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And I hope that everyone's new year is filled with hope, good health, happiness, and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Councillor Rhodes, and again, a real worthwhile project, and it's nice to have a councillor just sort of tag on and work these through a little bit for the people that came and made the presentation to council. And I guess about the only thing there is probably a bit of a budget item for chain link fencing on that, and I don't see that being all that major. It's not that expensive a project, so. We'll get that coming back, and maybe we'll have a dog park this year. That would be a real success. And again, we'll be working with the town on this and with the administration and staff, and it's really good for the new councillors again to understand how that works and there's chains out there that we work through. So thanks again, Councillor Rhodes, and next would be Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I will be brief. As Councillor Rhodes used to like to say, I think I'll bank some of my time, right? But I'd first of all like to just tell you that I'd like to champion the formation of a housing society for the town of Osoyoos to administer the affordable housing that will be built on the Richter property and on the lots behind the home buildings. I know that this has been talked about recently, both in the sustainability plan and in our talk about the Richter property, and because it's going to be something that has to be devoted to affordable housing, there is a need for a society to seize and become involved in how they are allocated and to whom. I had some initial contact with Habitat Humanity people, and there are other methods, other scenarios that one could use. So I've had some sort of a passion around this for a number of years, and I'd like to that. In addition, I'd just like to say that of Christmas and holiday season on us, and certainly got it front of mind. We often talk about buying local, and I'd like to just propose another consideration, and that is that not only do we buy local, but that those that are listening or watching consider some kind of a gift certificate or a gift from a local service, from local, so whether it's car detailed or having or have a pedicure or someone coming in to help you clean, do a year-end cleaning, something like that, so that it's not just a product, but it's a service as well. That's another, I think, definitely money locally. And I too would like to wish not only Mayor and fellow councillors, but our staff, all the staff, both ones that are on television and the ones that are working behind the scenes, and in our various departments, and to all of our residents, very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, especially that there'll be a safe, healthy holiday season fall. And with your leave, Mr. Mayor, I would like to leave the meeting. I'm got to get to a birthday party, and the reason I'm asking your indulgence is that I am the guest of honor.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Thank you very, very, very much, Councillor Ryan. I think that's a real worthwhile project. We definitely, any affordable housing that we do is certainly going to need that volunteer group. They just work hand in hand. You don't do affordable housing without a Kiwanis or an Elks or one of those organizations, Habitat for Humanity out there, being a big part of it. So that's a real worthwhile project. Happy birthday and Merry Christmas to you and your family from everybody here in Osoyoos. And you are excused.
Thank you very much. All the very best.
Bye-bye now. And finally, Councillor McCordoff.
Well, the other three have been quite long-winded, so I'll try and keep it a little bit shorter. First of all, I'd just like to mention two of my favorite volunteer groups who works particularly hard at this time of year. One would be the Osoyoos Festival Society, who did an excellent job of a Christmas light up and our new float, and this was the first time in 24 years that I have not been here, but like Councillor Ryan, I was at a birthday party in Vancouver, and it was in my honor, so I had to go. The other one that I'd like to mention is the food bank, and there are a lot of people that contribute to that. Not only Pastor Phil and the Baptist Church, but Pat and Bill Yelland, who very capably run that with many volunteers. And I know that this month, in December, there was a regular food bank, like they always have, plus there is a, they do boxes, special care packages for people. And I know because I'm going down tomorrow to help with that, and I know that the townspeople have been very generous. Also, in January, there are two more food banks. One is the regular one put on by the food bank, and one is an extra one that the Sir Optimus International of Osoyoos do, and I'm a member of that committee. So, in fact, at this time of year, we have two food banks in December and two in January, which is when it's needed. Now, on to my projects. I have, I've got three that I'm quite keen on. And one is the weather station, and I didn't realize until it was mentioned at the last meeting that the weather station is over at Kinsman Park, I think, and it tends to be to not be a true reading of Canada's warmest welcome because of the sprinkler system, is what I understand. So I think that we need to move that to a better location. And it has been mentioned that the Ministry of Environment have something at the border that measures wind and rain and various other things. So I think we need to look into that and perhaps move it down there. There is a gated area down at the border, and maybe it could be moved in under the same location. Anyway, that's one. The other one is I'm quite interested in supporting an outdoor track, and that would be a fitness track somewhere. It would be, from what I understand, and I haven't seen one, but I know that there are a couple of them around, one in Cranbrook, and I think there's at least one in Kelowna. And the idea is to have fitness centers, treadmills, that type of thing, something outside that it does not get restricted by the weather, and I think it would be a very good thing for not only the citizens but our visitors. And in talking with Gerald Davis at Leisure Services, he says that it is in fact on a list of something that they would like to eventually do. So I'm sure it depends on where it fits in their schedule and the cost, but I think that that needs to be looked at. And the other thing is, I'm a real proponent of water quality and quantity, and I think you will hear me talk about this many times over the next 3 years. The Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society is a very important group of people, of volunteers in our town, and I think they're suffering a little bit in terms of numbers and volunteers. And when I was talking to Alicia Osland, who is the secretary, one of the things that she needed was, and they agreed on, was a new website. And I'm just wondering if there is anybody out there who, somebody who's retired, knows something about websites that might be able to volunteer and give a little bit of a hand at that. So I really think that we need to uphold that, not just in terms of money, but in terms of man hours too. So along with that, I fully support Mike Plant in his suggestion of doing the splash park, and if there's any way that I can help with that area, I would like to as well. And I would just like to wish everyone in Osoyoos a very Merry Christmas and all the best in 2012.
Thank you, thank you, Councillor McCordoff. Which comes to me, and it's probably last week I deem as probably the busiest week I've had in my political career. It was just that absolutely flat out, and ran the full gamut of opening, being there at the Patterson Center, and the town hall meeting with the Premier Christy Clark in the afternoon, and then further up to Penticton Regional District, our I don't want to say indoctrination meeting, but our orientation meeting with new councillors, and the regional district first meeting and inaugural meeting, and a little bit of a social thereafter, and this airport thing that just keeps happening. I get a phone call, or Barry and I Mr. Romanko and I end up going to a meeting, and it's sort of on one thing, and all of a sudden we're back over to this airport issue. So it's been very, very full, very exciting, but a very, very full period. So I'm kind of looking forward to the Christmas break a little bit. For my project, I think I'm going to certainly help any councillors out there that need a little understanding or help in steering this. I think we've got some great projects coming forward, but I'm really going to keep this airport thing as lively and moving forward as I can. As I say, at 1 o'clock this afternoon, from Mr. Sean Salam, who had just come back from giving a $20,000 check to the South Okanagan General Hospital, and they put on that wine soiree up at Le Vieux Pain in Oliver, and all the profits and all, it's quite a charity to do, and all that profit stayed locally. And as I say, a $20,000 check to South Okanagan General Hospital. So that was just huge. And I met him, and he's explaining how he's fully supportive on our airport initiative. So when we get that obstruction, runway obstruction thing done, that'll at least let us know where we're going. Again, very, very busy councillors doing just a great job, and I really want to wish everybody just the healthiest and best Christmas out there. I know we all experience friends and family that are failing, and that's just so darn hard when that's happening. Truly, our health is our wealth, and the very best of the healthiest Christmas seasonal wishes, possibly to all the folks of Osoyoos and to everybody that we know. When you're out there looking at our good cheer, and that Festival of the Trees up at Spirit Ridge is just very, very exceptional. Anyone in town should. It's free. I took my mother up there on Sunday. She's 97. And she just truly enjoyed, with a walker, she truly enjoyed every minute of it. And like I say, if you want to vote, I think they ask for $2 to the Children's Hospital or the Miracle Network or one of those good causes. And it's fun. It's a part of our town, and it really does raise a lot of money for charity. So get up there and put you $2 in an envelope and vote on the best darn tree. Probably town of Osoyoos, but other people would probably find a different tree to pick. But it's a wonderful opportunity. People saying things to do when they're in town or anything. So do skedaddle up there and have a look at it. And again, the very, very best of Christmas wishes. Thanks a lot, folks, and we'll see you next year. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Rhodes McCordoff, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, well, we lost one, right? I've been waiting a long time for Councillor Ryan. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks a lot.